Welcome to Golf Edition of 57th and Marion. I'm Jeff Harkness along with Joel Harrington from 4 Deep Golf Blog, and we're having our regular golf conversation here on ESPN 99.1. Joel, let's start with from the last time we talked, which was the day before the Masters. What did we learn from the Masters this year, if anything?
We learned that lefties dominate the golf course. I mean, Bubba Watson has become now the 6th lefty in the last 12 years to win the tournament. We learned that Bubba Watson, has become a player who can control his emotions in the back nine, handle the biggest pressure in the world. Clearly, he has now moved himself to the upper echelon level of players, not to the Phil Mickelson-ish players yet, but I mean, he's up there with the Ernie Elses and the guys who have handled the pressure repeatedly over the course of their career. I'm not saying we're not ever going to see what happened with Bubba at Bay Hill, a few weeks ago, but I'm very impressed with how he has managed to control his game, play within himself, and really just grind out a solid victory like he did a couple weeks ago.
Not surprising, the TV ratings were down without Tiger, and we talked about that a couple of weeks ago, but does it bode well for the sport now to have a guy who's won twice in 3 years and also an up-and-coming star in Jordan Spieth? Here's a guy last year was 807th on the rankings and now all of a sudden is contending at 20 years old for the Masters on the final day. Is he an up-and-coming star that people can get behind in years to come?
Absolutely. I mean, Jordan Spieth is a guy that's not only he's young and electric to watch, he hits it a long ways. He's great in the interview room afterwards. I mean, he's a fun guy that guys can kind of latch onto. A lot of PGA Tour players will kind of shut out the media and the fans, like verbally, because they're like a Jason Duffner. They can't really open up. But Spieth is an open, honest dude, and he actually got to a little bit of an annoying level almost after, a lot of shots where he'd kind of whine and moan after, blocking a shot to the right or missing a short putt. But that animation is good. He's 20 years old. I mean, he'll grow out of that. And then Bubba, I mean, he's a guy, hits it a mile, uses a pink freaking driver. Yeah. Is left-handed, is just goofy as all get out, drives a General Lee. I mean, just add all that up, and I mean, it's great for golf.
And then you follow it up at Hilton Head last week, where Matt Kuchar wins on the final hole. He's had a great month. I mean, since the 30th of March, this guy's won $2.3 million. He's had a bunch of top 5 finishes in a row. He contended for a while at Augusta. And so Matt Kuchar right now may be the hottest player on tour.
Absolutely. I mean, if Kuchar's in the field and you're playing fantasy golf or anything, I mean, you have to pick him. He's a top 10 machine right now. And it was good to see him finally get over the hump. I mean, he really, at the Shell Houston Open the week before the Masters, he pretty much gave that tournament away. He had to par the 18th hole, which is not an easy par, but he kind of pull hooked his second shot into the water. Was lucky to get up and down for bogey, then didn't win in the playoff. But then coming into last week, I mean, solid golf all week until Sunday, and then he just exploded with that 7 under 64. There wasn't a 64 out there. I mean, guys that shot 69 on Sunday were gaining ground on the field because it was so windy and shooting a 64. And especially after missing that short birdie putt on 17 and missing the comebacker, so he 3-putts from about 3.5 feet. Then he gets to 18 and in all likelihood needed to make par to get to a playoff and holes out from the bunker. And it might have taken something like that for him to get over the hump instead of having to make that pressure putt. He kind of, had his stroke of luck in his direction too. So hottest player in the world right now probably is Matt Kuchar.
And despite that tournament always being the week after the Masters, that always seems to have some momentum carrying into it. And then you get to this week every year, which is now the Zurich week, where they're at the TPC in Louisiana down in New Orleans. And I read one place where it referred to it as the least star-studded event on the PGA Tour. Have we officially reached the post-Masters lull right now on the tour?
Unfortunately, Zurich is kind of in a product of bad timing, really. I mean, you have the Masters, you have Harbor Town, which people love. Consistently, that course rates in the top 3 for favorite courses from all PGA Tour players. And then you have Quail Hollow coming this next week, and then you have the Players' Championship after that. Well, everybody plays the Masters that's eligible. Everybody loves Harbor Town. And then you have, like I said, Quail Hollow, which a lot of the top guys play, and then everybody plays the Players. So at some point, those top players have to take a week off. And really, a lot of the guys that are playing this week are doing so because Zurich is a big sponsor of the PGA Tour, and a lot of them have sponsorship obligations to play the tournament. So unfortunately, it's just bad timing. It's a fun course. TPC Louisiana is a great course. You actually see it in the background here. It's a lot of scoring opportunities, but it's a fun track. 7,400 yards, lots of birdies out there. It's unfortunate. The tournament was in, say, February or summertime. Well, maybe not August.
Yeah,
not August.
In Louisiana,
yeah. You know what I mean. It would certainly draw a better field.
Let's pick out a hole or two on this course. We mentioned it's a TPC course, which of course makes it unique from a lot of other courses out there. But as you look at this TPC Louisiana course, give me one or two holes and why they're so unique and what stands out about them and how to play these holes.
Sure. A lot of the course is surrounded by water. There's tons of bunkers. There's over 70 bunkers in the golf course, so you're talking multiple bunkers per hole, fairway and greenside. The hole that stands out for me is certainly the 18th hole. It's a par 5. A lot of you can probably picture it from years past, but there's water up the entire right side of the hole, from right off the tee box all the way up to the green. It hugs the right side, and the hole bends around that water. So if you're a right-hander, you're looking, as you're setting up to the ball, you're looking at the water right in front of you. It's intimidating, so you're going to bail out left, right? Well, left, there's fairway bunkers, there's greenside bunkers, there's the gallery, there's trees. Left is not a safe bailout. So it requires a good drive. It's reachable in 2, but the green, like I said, is edged by water. There's bunkers left. You can bail out a little bit left of the green, kind of over by the grandstands area, but birdie is in potentially even an eagle could be made, but you can also easily see a double bogey or worse if you lose anything out to the right.
Are you a fan of a finishing hole being that difficult?
Yeah, I'm definitely a fan of a risk-reward finishing hole. I mean, it is a challenging finishing hole, but because it's the 560-yard range, I mean, that's reachable in 2 for most guys on the tour. Having a risk-reward finishing hole where a guy can make potentially a 3, can make a 4, but can also make a 6 or 7, it's great because you have no idea what to expect until the tournament is said and done on Sunday night.
The weather has gotten better, although this weekend, I don't know, but certainly for Easter weekend it was great, and looks like we finally have maybe put winter aside and we're going into spring, which means we're getting back out to our local courses. With that in mind, Men's Health put out a list recently, and I wanted to share this with you, the 18 dumbest things you could do on a golf course. So I picked out a couple. Now remember, this list is geared toward amateurs, and so a lot of these things, we're not talking about professional golfers, we're not talking about the PGA Tour, we're talking about the amateur duffers who go out there on the weekends. First of all, not warming up, and by warming up they mean actually physically stretching, also going to the driving range and hitting the practice green. Yep. Big mistake a lot of people don't do. They show up right before their tee time and they head right out to the first tee box.
Worst thing you can do, I mean, just think about it. Playing any other sport, basketball or baseball, or just going for a jog, if you're not going to be doing any stretching before you do that, I mean, you're going to injure yourself and you're not going to get maximum performance. I mean, it's just even spending 5 minutes at your office or at home or wherever you are before you go play makes a significant difference.
The other big mistake they talk about is wanting to play from the back tees, which I think is that macho thing. You're going to go, okay, what's the farthest place I can possibly? Yeah. That's another big mistake the amateurs make.
Yeah, I mean the game is hard enough already. I mean when you're 3 holes in and you're all 4 or 5 over par or worse. I mean, there's nobody watching you that's going to be, oh, super impressed. This guy's beating his chest over this tee shot. It's like, okay, on the first tee you're doing it to kind of like puff up your chest or whatever, but it's make the game fun. Move up a tee box. The PGA of America came out with a initiative last year called Tee It Forward, where you move up a tee box or 2. And frankly, every level of golfer would benefit from this. Not just the guys or gals in the 30 or 35 handicap range, not just the 20s, even single digit or even scratch golfers. Moving up makes the game more fun. I mean, when you get done, the scorecard might read, when you get done, the scorecard reads a certain score that you shot, but it doesn't read what tees you played, and it's just it's fun. Golf is fun, and it makes it more fun when you play better, and that's certainly something that's likely going to happen if you move up a tee box.
The other ones, and this is one of the biggest complaints when you play an amateur course, is the whole pace of play thing. Playing ready golf, which means don't always play who's farthest out, but play when you're ready. If you get to your ball before other people and you have a shot, take it. Measuring your distance, come on, really? Are you really that accurate anyway? And the other thing is lining up your putts. You're not putting for a green jacket here. No one's going to hand you the big check at the end. When you get ready, hit your ball, and those are the mistakes I think that slow down pace of play more than anything else.
Totally agree. I think the biggest one is the first one that you said is the ready golf factor. I mean, sure, having honors on a tee box when you're playing match play or something is really important. And if you have just 2 or 3 of you, I mean, whatever, you can do that. But the ready golf doesn't just mean on the tee box. I mean, it means when, let's say, Jeff, you and I are playing together, if you're on the other side of the fairway and you're behind me because I outdrove you, of course.
Of course you do, yeah. You probably find your ball and I probably can't find mine, so yeah.
But let's say we're both in the fairway for this. You're hitting, and the second that you hit, I already have the yardage, I already have the club in my hand, I've already gauged the wind or whatever else I'm going to do, and I watch your ball take off, and that's it. I'm starting my pre-shot routine, I'm addressing my ball. way too many people out there are not only not ready, but they're on the other side of the fairway, standing next to their friend or playing partner or whatever, watching them hit the shot, and then they're moseying over to their ball and then doing all the yardage calculations and stuff. It would speed up the game immensely if everybody just had a little bit of wherewithal, like, hey, you know what? You can hop out of the cart and walk 20 yards across the fairway. Not a big deal. Just be ready. Be ready when it's your turn and just hit the ball.
And I love these courses that say your place is right behind the group in front of you, not right in front of the group behind you.
Yes.
And that means don't be hitting into the group in front of you, but make sure you're keeping up with them, because that's going to make everybody's pace of game go better.
Exactly. And the USGA has these old rules of, if there's a group on the green of a par 5, then you're the group behind that you're out of place. All that's kind of too hard to keep track of. Just keep up with the group in front of you.
Yeah.
If they're a single and you're a foursome, obviously that doesn't really apply, but just keep up with the group in front of you.
And then the other one I didn't know, which apparently is an unwritten rule of golf, if you're the first person to the beverage cart, you're entitled to buy for the rest of the people in your group. Who knew?
So that's a place where it's acceptable to be slow.
Exactly.
Because then your buddy can pull his wallet out of his pocket.
I did not
and
know
buy
that
the drinks.
one.
Yeah.
Is that accepted golf etiquette? I mean, it's been a while, but I did not know that.
That actually is somewhat of the norm, but I mean, if you're with a group of buddies, it should be Jeff, you get the first round,
Okay.
Joel, I'll get the second round, etc.
Because the people I know, nobody would get any drinks. People would die of thirst before they would go to that cart first to get that first drink.
Right.
All right, that's Joel. I'm Jeff. 4 Deep Golf is the place to look for his stuff. Find us online at ESPN991.com. Thanks to the folks here at Golf Addiction. Come check it out at 57th and Marion.